So one day, an atheist went strolling through the woods, exclaiming at the sights that he saw, saying such things like, "Such magnificent trees. Wow, what lush rolling hills. My goodness, what powerful rivers." Then he went on his merry way. But suddenly, he heard a sound in the bushes behind him. So he turned back. There was nothing there. So he kept on walking. Moments later, he heard another sound. But this time, he heard footsteps. And they sounded heavy. He thought it might be a deer or a moose. So he turned back with anticipation. But it wasn't a deer or a moose. It was a 7-foot, 900-pound grizzly bear stalking him. Now the atheist was clever. He remembered his survival training. He decided to walk slowly away from the grizzly bear, being careful not to entice the bear to chase after him. But the bear followed suit. The atheist noticed this. Slightly panicked, he decided he was going to jog lightly. The bear picked up its pace and also followed after the atheist, jogging lightly. Now the atheist really began to panic. He decided he was going to throw all caution to the wind and sprint and save his own life. So the atheist decided to run. He ran and he ran and he ran. And the once beautiful scenery turned into a blur of green and brown. But the atheist was outmatched. See, he was on the grizzly bear's territory, and the bear knew it much better than the atheist did. The atheist ran and ran. He tripped on a log, fell on his face, scrambled to get back to his feet, but it was too late. The grizzly bear had him pinned on the floor with his left paw, and he raised up his right paw in the air to deliver the final death blow. And in that instant, the atheist yelled out, "Oh my God!" Time froze. Sound ceased. The atheist was aware of what had happened. God had given him an opportunity for redemption. Like I said before, the atheist was very clever. Instead of asking God to turn him into a Christian and risk being a hypocrite for all of eternity, he decided he was going to ask God to turn the grizzly bear into a Christian, knowing that Christians are forbidden to kill. God granted the atheist his wish. Time began. Sound resumed. The atheist slowly opened his eyes, and what he saw next left him speechless. He saw the 7-foot, 900-pound grizzly bear on its knees, his two front paws clasped together. His head was bowed. Eyes were closed. Then the grizzly bear began to pray. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for my health and strength. Oh Lord, please bless this meal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome guests. My cousin Horatio Thomas recommended a book to me several years ago. He said that this book really impacted his life and changed his way of thought. Very briefly, Horatio is classified as a genius according to certain test scores. At the time of our meeting, he was finishing his high school requirements in a private college at the age of 16. Horatio now has finished his Bachelor's of Science from Harvard University and is now doing med school where he hopes to bring a cure to lung cancer and other pulmonary diseases. The book is called Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. Ishmael is a telepathic gorilla whose owner is a retired anthropologist. Ishmael reads all the books in his owner's library and does some own reading on his own and puts together a thought. He then sends out an ad in the newspaper saying, With man gone, will there be hope for gorilla? Teacher seeking pupil. One man responds to this ad, and he becomes Ishmael's student. And Ishmael imparts to this man all of his knowledge. In summary, what Ishmael has to say is that there are two types of people. Yes, Doug, a primary, a secondary, but not a tertiary. The two types of people that Ishmael claims live on this planet come in one of two varieties: takers and leavers. Now, very briefly, the story or the history of the takers and the leavers goes back to the story of Cain and Abel, the very two first people ever born, from the first two people ever created, Adam and Eve. Now, Cain was a farmer who tilled the land, planted seeds, and harvested crops. Abel was a shepherd. He raised livestock. One day, both brothers brought their offerings unto God. Cain brought fresh produce. Abel brought calves and fatty parts from his best animals. God showed favor unto Abel. And we suppose that Cain was jealous, later lured his brother into a field and killed him, therefore being the first man to ever commit murder. Now, the view of the takers is that the entire world is one big store with no owner present and no attendants. So it's take, 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 take. It's always going to be there. It can never run out. Now, the view of the leavers, they see the world much like a resource, like our own bodies. They take only what they need and leave the rest for other generations. We refer to those people as hunter-gatherers. Now, the world we live in would have us believe that these people are extinct, but there are still pockets of them living in the world. Now, what happens when you eat an apple? Well, when you eat an apple, you have seeds that are left over. Seeds that can be planted, and in time will form other trees, which will bring more apples. What happens when you kill a carcass for mass production or profit is that you just have its bones, which yield nothing for anyone else, no other animals, and nothing for future generations. So if we are to endure, I recommend that we begin to adopt the philosophy of the takers. This is an echo of a thought, or a change in thought, that has been taking place for centuries, if not longer, and is now being reverberated in many areas of our society. For instance, in government, in our schools, we're being taught to recycle, and in business models, they're always looking at ways to acquire or bring about greater sustainability. So going forward, I want us all to consider this question. What is the environment? Is it the whole earth? Is it a country, like Canada? Maybe the environment is a province, like Ontario. Perhaps the environment is a city, like Brampton. Or maybe the environment is a community, like Bramalea. Maybe the environment is our own backyards. Maybe the environment is our physical bodies. Or perhaps the environment is our inner self, like our thoughts, how we relate to our feelings, how we relate to other people. I believe that the environment is all of these things, and if we live long enough, I believe the environment will include such places like the moon, Mars, Jupiter, our entire galaxy, the Milky Way, our neighboring galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy. And one day, I believe that the environment will include the entire universe. Thank you.